Welcome to Extra Throttle House. I'm Thomas.
And I'm James.
And I'm selling my M2.
It feels like it's been a minute. How long has it actually been?
You know, I don't even know.
It's years, isn't
It's
it?
a couple years.
Right.
Yeah. It's a couple years,
And
at least 2.
In the life of a car enthusiast, that's in dog years. In car enthusiast years, that's 10 years.
Well, it's weird for me because I thought that I was going to get an M2 and then I was going to keep an M2 for my whole life.
But I told you, the life cars, they're never life cars.
That's so weird. I don't know what. Okay, so I have not fallen out of love with the M2. That's not what it is.
Right, so what's
Okay?
happened here?
Basically, what's happened is that I just do not drive it enough.
Because
I have other stuff that I have to drive or I have to do or other things.
right, so currently you're Woody Harrelson wiping your eyes with dollar bills right now. I got too many
Oh
amazing
no!
cars.
This is 100% like first world problem, and I totally understand that. But I'd rather someone else enjoy it. When you find yourself taking the car out because you want to keep the rust off the brakes,
Right.
that's not a good enough reason to have a car.
So because you're dailying what?
Well, I end up driving the truck most of the time for work, right?
And in the summer you end up in...
In my Alpha or Schnitz or one of my other classics, right? So when the weather's good, I take one of the classics out.
So I think what we're experiencing here is when you buy the one car that does everything,
Yeah.
but then you also have the specialized cars, you never,
Yes, that's
you
exactly
never
what it
buy
is.
the one car that does everything.
Exactly. So
Okay.
I don't know what to say. I absolutely love this car, and I haven't fallen out of love with it, and I still stop and look at it in the driveway because it is so good looking. And I'm not just saying that because I'm selling it and I think the new one looks like a poo. This looks beautiful.
And in Long Beach blue.
It's the best color, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, so aesthetically, this has gone through several modifications since I got it.
Right.
It came with the stock wheels, which I don't actually like, by the way. I don't like the diamond cut. I don't like that they're offset. I prefer the square setup, which is what I have.
Right. And you copied the M2 CS wheels.
I copied the M2 CS wheels as I've got the Apex VS5 RS wheels.
Right.
In
You
this
changed the
light
suspension
gold.
as well.
Yes, I have. We'll talk about that again in the car, just kind of like a refresher.
But does
for
it
people.
sit lower?
It does sit lower,
Okay.
which is why it looks sick. Come on.
I hope this isn't one of those...
Look at this rear wheel fitment.
By the end of this, are
Look
you
at
going to
it.
be like, I don't know why I'm selling this?
I know. By the end of this. Okay, I'm going to take you for a drive.
Okay.
I just want to talk you through a few things. Like, after my entire ownership of the car, there are some things. You know what? This is a 5 things I love about my car and 5 things I hate about it.
It makes sense sometimes.
That's what's about.
It
That's
makes
what's going to
sense.
happen right now. You ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right, get in.
One last drive, apart from all the drives you do between now and selling it.
Oh,
and then
that's
selling it.
sad. I
No,
mean-
but this isn't the last one, so you haven't got to think of it.
No,
like
fair
that.
enough. Okay.
Also, I just feel like if it's one last drive, that's the drive you're going to crash.
Right. What? All right, here we go. Let me walk you through my mods.
Okay.
I haven't really done any.
Oh.
Yeah, just the suspension.
Okay, I was going to say, you did the suspension.
Yeah.
Exhaust?
Nope.
Oh.
Yeah, didn't change the engine, didn't tune it. I didn't need to. It sounds good right off the bat. It goes, it's got like a big like bulldog
Yeah,
sound.
it doesn't, for a turbocharged car, it doesn't sound, it still has the muffle of a turbocharged
Oh,
car.
it's nowhere near the E92 M3 or an E46 M3 or anything of like, it's not even close to that in terms of sound. But it's still kind of fun,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, I just didn't feel like it needed any more power. It's got enough. Like, look at this.
Yeah.
Like, without even thinking, the rear's gone in a corner.
Yeah, this was always a spicy car. M2 CS, I remember on the track, almost died.
It was, yeah, exactly.
So okay, here's an exercise then.
Yeah, okay.
What was your impression of an M2 the first time you drove it? Because now you have a unique perspective.
Yeah,
The first time you drove it, the first time you owned it, the first like few weeks of ownership,
yeah.
and now at the end. And how has the impression changed over those 3 points in time?
Okay, I like this. This is a fun game. When I first drove an M2, I was blown away. This is one of the first times that I had got to drive a modern M car, where it has this crushing front end grip that does not give up.
Right.
It just turns into the corner and it finds its line, and then the rear kind of floats around behind it. And it was the first time I experienced just how good BMWs are in a slide. Right? They're so settled. That rear differential is excellent, and that's what I fell in love with. And then what was the second one?
First few weeks of
First
ownership.
ownership. Well,
Were you sold then? Or is it
I
just
was
like-
sold then right
Okay.
away. I was like, I want this car.
Right.
Like, I want this car.
And at the time you had already had a lot of E46 experience.
Yeah, I did. 100%. I've been driving E46 for years. But this just felt like a perfect modern rendition of what I love about the E46. So then I got, when I first got the car, I realized, yes, it is exactly what I thought it was. There's a ton of performance here that you can use every day. But I realized the best part about it was that it's just a nice car. It's got Apple CarPlay. It's got an easy-to-use climate control. The seats are comfortable. There's lots of trunk space. There's rear seat, like head and leg room for an adult. Right? It's got all the stuff that you need to drive every day. It's quiet enough on the highway.
And you were excited. This was the biggest purchase you'd made in a car.
I was so excited. And I still am excited, to be fair. It's going to do a little UE here. It doesn't have the... the fuel station. That's convenient because we're on fuel reserve. That's one of the issues that I have with the car. It's one of my 5 things I dislike about my M2.
I see.
Is that they removed the fuel tank and fitted a shot glass in its place.
It really doesn't... Is it always out of fuel?
It's just always out of fuel. It's so annoying. But yeah, I don't know. Now that I am this many years into doing what we do, I still, every time I get in this car, honestly, I'm like, oh, I forgot, this is a really good car.
Well, you also had the validation in the middle. There's another data point that I missed out, which was when we tested this against the new M240i.
Oh yeah.
And it showed how fun it was
It
for
was
a
just-
similar price in the used market.
It's just more fun, 100%.
Yeah, not as capable, not as quick, more comfortable in the back though. And then we've since tried the new M2.
We have, and the new M2 is great. Like, as a driver's car, when you're on the track, I think it's really fun. But I think that this is just a little bit lighter, and that's one of the reasons I bought the OG M2, by the way, was I liked these seats better than the competition seats.
I prefer the competition seats.
Yeah, but you're a small man. You're James Tiny Butt. We've been over that.
I mean, I hope the main channel guys don't talk about that stuff.
I wanted the slightly lighter version of the car.
And cheaper.
That was one of the things as well.
Yeah, 50 grand was not nothing.
No, it wasn't, and it was more than that for the competition, and it still is.
Yeah. All right, and now, is it a bittersweet ending, or are you... How's that changed at all? Any of those opinions? Is there something that currently M2 is better than an M2 out there?
You know what? No, I don't think that there is, actually.
CT4V Blackwing, maybe?
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it's right there, yeah.
I'll set you up!
Yeah, you set me right up for that. But this is... Okay, you know what? I'm going to list the things that I don't like that have really grinded my gears in ownership. First of all, I don't like that you have to turn the traction control off to turn off the auto rev match. That's stupid.
Which they fixed in the new one.
Yes, I believe you can tune that out, but I never did. What else don't I like? There's honestly not a lot.
Not a lot.
The fuel tank being small is definitely a thing. Well, though, actually, to be fair, the biggest thing I didn't like about the M2 was the ride. The ride wasn't good enough. And so I put some AST 5100s on, which use the stock top hats, so I didn't get any extra road noise. And they're rebound adjustable, and they're just a really high quality damper. So I've got more travel now, the car is more planted, and the ride is better damped. Actually, the more time I spent with them, the more the springs worked in, and the more the rides even become better.
So this wasn't a case of making it more, getting better lap times, this was you trying to find the way it should have come from factory sort of thing.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So, and my experience with these dampers and the way this car is currently set up now is that it's a lot closer to a 911 than it was.
Right.
It just feels more, you know how Porsches are masters of damping?
Yes.
That's kind of what this feels like to me now. Like, it's so much grip in the corners. And it's so controllable. Oh, you know what? There are a few more things that I don't like.
Do it.
I feel like I've been waiting a long time to get this out.
Spill it.
This is my moment.
This is a safe place.
I don't like the 1-to-2 shift in this car.
I never liked the 1-to-2 shift.
Okay.
It's not easy.
Did we just
to
become best friends?
No, I don't. I said this the first time I ever drove the M2 Comp in that ice grey or whatever it was
Yes.
called. The 1-2 shift is not easy.
No, it isn't.
And therefore it's not satisfying.
Yeah, here, I'll do it here. I'll come to a stop. It's hard to get it right. The revs don't fall quite quickly enough. It doesn't feel good. The shifter's not that nice, right? So, you gotta pause there.
Yeah.
You have to really pause to not have a lurch. Also, there's a clutch delay valve, which some people delete.
Right. That was my only gripe actually with this car. The first time I ever drove it was that 1-to-2 shift.
Yeah.
Because I want to be like, yeah, and because you feel like a crap driver.
You feel like a crap driver.
Someone's in the passenger seat, you're like, I'm sorry, I don't know, I
Yeah.
did it wrong. It was me. It was the first time. It doesn't normally happen that quickly. But I think, I think this has been a great car. I think you've given it a few years of ownership.
Yep. I still
yeah.
think there's very few cars out here that do what this does right now, or maybe even ever again. It's a fun to drive, snorty little like drifter with enough interior space that you can live in it, and a manual transmission. Like, there's just, like, what is there?
Just the CT4V Blackwing.
Just the Blackwing, yeah.
Because everything else is, even things that have that recipe are down on power.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
feels punchy.
It does. But one thing. Okay, here's another thing. Maybe there are 5 things that I don't like.
Have we done 5 things that you do?
There's so many.
Okay.
It's the whole car is one
Okay.
big thing. Yeah. There it is. That is the M2, and I'm selling it for reasons that I don't fully understand.
Right.
Yeah, that's where I'm kind of at.
No,
right
I
now.
think it goes back to what we said before, because of what we do. Like, the ownership of a car is always specific to the owner.
Yeah.
There's no right car or wrong car.
Right.
And because we've been able to, spread our specified needs of cars out. Like, instead of me having a normal car, even though I have a Golf,
Yeah.
before I had the Golf, I had the Sentry, and on the other end of the spectrum, the Miata, and together they make one Golf.
Right.
And you had this, but then you got the Alp Spaghetti
Yeah.
and a truck, and together they make one M2, kind of.
Yeah, I guess so. Between them. Yeah. Also, I've got another car coming that kind of needs the parking space.
You're gonna leave us on a cliffhanger?
They know. They know. I'm importing. Oh, did we only tell the people on Discord that?
We might have done.
Interesting.